What if the biggest battle in your life isn't about strength, but about trust? An entire army stood frozen in fear, but one boy stepped forward, not because he was the strongest, but because he believed God was. The Philistine army stood on one side, Israel on the other. And every day, a giant stepped forward. His name was Goliath, towering, armored, unmatched. He didn't just come to fight, he came to challenge. "Send me a man," he shouted, "just one." But no one moved. Not the strongest, not the bravest. They stood, frozen. Even the king had no answer. Saul, chosen to lead, sat in silence. Because fear doesn't just spread, it settles. And in that valley, day after day, nothing changed. The giant stood, and no one stepped forward. Then, someone new arrived. Not a soldier, not a warrior, just a shepherd, bringing food to his brothers. But when David heard the giant, he didn't react like the others. While fear filled the camp, David asked a different question. Who is this that defies the living God? While everyone else saw a giant, David saw something else. Not a problem, but a moment for God to move. David stood before the king, not with fear, but with certainty. "Let no one lose heart," he said, "I will go." Saul looked at him and saw only a shepherd. No armor, no experience, no chance. So he offered what made sense, his own armor, his own way to fight the battle. But David took it off, because what works for others isn't always what God has given you. The God who delivered me before will deliver me again. And in that moment, faith replaced fear. While others stayed back, David stepped forward. The giant moved closer, stronger, louder, certain of victory. But David didn't hesitate. He ran toward the battle, not with armor, not with a sword, but with faith. And in a single moment, everything changed. The giant fell, not because David was stronger, but because God was greater. The battle was over, but the lesson remained. David didn't win because he was stronger. He won because he trusted God. And the giants in your life may not fall the way you expect, but they will fall when you face them with faith. What looks impossible is never bigger than God. If this message spoke to you, subscribe for more stories that build faith.